Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, coming up in this evening's podcast, we're going to be reviewing the EPL matches which took place over the weekend. Big result for Manchester United versus Arsenal, and Liverpool fall to Bournemouth. Now, joining me this evening to review these matches and to talk some EPL football, we have returning to the podcast, Christoph.
Good to be back, viewers.
Christoph, nowhere to start, but over there at the Emirates, Arsenal going down to a resurgent Manchester United. Are we seeing the return of the Manchester United of old, Christoph? What was your thoughts on that game and the result?
Um, so before I talk about the game, I didn't say anything about it last week, but again this week, same foolishness. The referees have been making poor decisions. They missed a clear and obvious penalty last week and missed another clear and obvious penalty in this game again, and should have issued a red card to Harry Maguire. That being said, I think as I've said before, you must win the game without the referee, regardless. But
For sure.
two clear and obvious errors that were potentially game-changing moments.
Oh, you
Um,
mean in this game, or was it
yeah,
just the one with the
no,
handball situation?
the handball last week, and there was a clear and obvious red card against Manchester United
Oh, in this game, which
in this
which
game. Harry
oh
Maguire.
so last week it was the potential red, I believe, for was it that Taklan Doku, I believe, last week.
Oh no, I'm talking about the Arsenal game last week. It should have
Oh, the
been there
Arsenal game.
should have been a penalty last week.
Oh,
Doku.
oh,
That
I
should
thought
have
you
been
were
a
talking about the Man City game.
last week the Man City game. That challenge on Doku should have been a straight red. First of
Right,
all,
right, right.
I don't know how they looked at it. And I even saw Howard Webb speak about it afterward and talk about why it was not a red card. And I've never heard such rubbish in my life. Right?
Mm,
If the studs are at the knee and the knee was not touching the grass, it's a straight red. Right?
mm.
If I am not kneeling down on the pitch and somebody studs touch my knee, it is a straight red.
I see,
Rubbish.
I see.
It should have been a red
But
card last
what
week.
of this week though? Getting back to this week though, Christoph.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk this
Like
week.
yeah, like I said, in this game, there should have Harry Maguire should have seen a red
Oh,
card.
so for the handball you're saying?
Not for the handball. You
Oh,
didn't
not
see
for the handball.
you didn't see when inside the box, Gabriel Jesus was shielding the ball and he punched Gabriel Jesus in the face.
Oh, well, that one might have missed me. I'm not saying it did
The
happen. I'm just saying
the
if
the
I
referees have been making some strange decisions since the start of the new year.
oh,
It
so
wasn't as
what's your
bad
take
first
on the
half.
handball situation though? Was it a handball or wasn't it? For me, it wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't a
Just
handball. You mean the Harry Maguire handball?
yes,
Wasn't a
yes.
handball.
Okay.
Where was
So
he
that
going to put
decision
his
was
hand?
correct then.
Yeah, that was fine. I'm fine with that.
Okay,
As long
gotcha.
as long as a player's hand is by their side, I cannot.
Natural position, they say.
I can't say it's a handball. I did see them give a handball in another game. Was it the Crystal Palace game where somebody was going to ground and they put their hand down to catch themselves from falling and they gave I think it was Crystal Palace versus Chelsea. And I heard the commentator says it was the correct decision to give a handball and a pen. I don't think so. What are
Mm,
you going to do? You're falling. You're going to catch yourself. I don't think there was an attempt to play the ball. I don't think that was the case. So I don't think that was a penalty. But penalty given, whatever. Um, a lot of wrong decisions I think referees have been making since the start of the year.
mm. But what of
But
the
back to business.
gameplay? Yeah,
The
back to
gameplay. Back to
back
business.
to business. Yeah,
Back to business.
that was a nice rant as it related to the officiating, Which I mean, I can agree to some degree with your analysis there, But in terms of this gameplay, I mean, did we see this a similar Manchester United from that Manchester United which played against Man City?
Yeah,
Is the
but
question I have for you.
yeah, I said they would take the same approach as they did against Manchester City, and it's nothing new. It's an approach that you can go back to Sir Alex Ferguson. It's what he did when he played against Arsenal. When
Right.
Arsenal started playing possession football, I think I saw an interview with Paul Scholes saying that Sir Alex told them, "Hey, don't try and outplay Arsenal. Just sit back." win the ball and counter attack, and that's what they did in this game. That's what they did against Manchester City.
City.
Not to say,
So Christoph, didn't Arteta, if we are here analyzing the game,
mhm,
if we are here analyzing Manchester United, we are no experts, quote and
right,
unquote. We are not
paid the
there and close
millions.
to the action week in, week out, and have statisticians and scouts at our fingertips.
Right.
Wouldn't Arteta see what we see as well?
But there's a lot of things that we potentially see, and you have to say, well, this person, the people at the club are getting paid millions to analyze and provide this information and whatever. I don't know. Like to me, it was clear and obvious what Manchester United was going into this match to do, and they did it.
Right.
Right?
Oh, so Arsenal did nothing to stop. So, in other words, the plan for Manchester United worked to perfection then. Arsenal did
It's
nothing to disrupt that plan.
um somewhat the plan that Manchester United's plan worked somewhat well. The problem, or what I would take from Manchester United in this one, is that Arsenal shot themselves in the foot by gifting Mbeumo that goal.
Oh, that's the first goal.
That right.
Oh,
Potentially,
the
if
the back pass
poten
from Zubimendi.
right, potentially, if that was not gifted, the outcome might have been different, where United might not have built any momentum or whatever. Because for a majority of the match, or up until they were gifted that goal, United really didn't have any momentum. They were defending well, they kept their shape well, but I think they only had really one real chance before that.
All right.
Right, but they were defending well. It's not like they were putting on some attacking display
But
that,
Arsenal themselves weren't really
and I think
Arsenal
that
themselves weren't really creating many
right.
chances though, Christoph.
I think that was Arsenal's game plan. They in order to avoid the counter attack that Man United was doing, they were going to neutralize them by, kind of keeping the ball, keeping possession, and preventing United from winning the ball. And in doing so, by avoiding risk, you ended up shooting yourself in the leg and gifting them a goal.
Right?
Right? Then
But at that point,
United,
the game was still 1-1.
yeah, and then man, you could, well, people say, United kind of got that wonder goal from Dorgo. I don't really count it as a wonder goal. I count it as they went in halftime level when it should have been 1-0. And then Carrick said, hey, first 15 minutes, go out with intensity, get a goal, and you win.
Mm.
I
Oh,
think
so
that's
you
what
think that
happened.
was that was the
The
message
moment
from
that
Carrick?
that that goal
So what would have
shifted the
been the message from
momentum.
Arsenal though?
I have
Halftime,
no
what would have been your
I
message?
have no clue what Arteta told them at halftime. No clue.
So you're
But
saying you did not see, much like you can say, Carrick told his troops to go out hard for the first 15, try and
right,
pinch a goal,
that is exactly what he told them. No
right?
doubt in my mind, because
But
that's what we
what was
saw.
the instruction from Arteta?
No clue. No clue what he said.
So are you
Because
blaming Arteta for this last then?
it's 50-50, 50-50. So it's something that I've spoken about before, right? I say you have your coach, all right, let's take Arteta, let's take Pep. They play possession, football, pass, into box, goal, shoot, whatever, right? You have games where you will go into, and that is clearly not working or not going to work, right?
Why,
The
is there a
manager,
plan B then?
all right, the manager might not want to change, or maybe the manager doesn't have a plan B. My thing is, the players are not intelligent enough to say, this is not working, let's do something else. Let's
Mm.
try something else.
But wouldn't that be
So,
down to the manager's instruction though?
no,
And players not necessarily want to defy the
no,
manager's instruction?
I'm saying it has to be 50-50. The managers is going to, all right, we're going to go out, we're going to play possession football. All right? The players and the manager at some point must see that it's not working. Do you then continue playing that and hope that it works? Or do you, hey, plan B, do this? Or
Well,
do
I
you
mean,
say to your players, make it happen?
right, but the plan B seemed to have been personnel changes,
No,
which Arteta did make. He
no,
did change the personnel.
I don't believe that was plan B. I think that was a pan. I think that was panic. And we saw it last week. We saw it last week. Saw it last week. That we're last 2 weeks we saw it. It was panic.
You
To
mean
me,
versus Nottingham Forest?
yeah, and the game before that as well. I think it's fine. You don't you all right, you 65th minute come. You make one or two changes to kind of change it. You don't make 4 or 5 changes one time,
Mm,
right? For me, in this game, to me, if I was Arsenal manager, Christopher Robinson was Arsenal manager
right.
on Sunday. Zubamendi gave away that ball. It led to a goal. I'm not waiting until halftime. I am withdrawing Zubamendi from that game.
We joined Zubimendi
I am
for
with
one mistake.
that no that in this type of game you cannot
Wow.
afford that. In this type of match you cannot
And then
afford
what
that
happen
kind of
if the
stupidity.
player, what happens if the player you sub on for him makes a similar mistake?
Hook him again too. Listen, when Zubamendi made that back pass, there was no pressure on. You could have
Mm.
turned. There was
Well, I
a
mean,
play.
it's a high pressure game.
There
You're at the
was
top of the league. It's
this
a
is
high pressure game. So the
Zubamen.
pressure, in the sense that the pressure may not necessarily have been on within the context of the actual game, but the narrative surrounding the game. You're the league leaders. Manchester United coming off a big win versus City in front of your home fans. Man City would have won the day before as well, which also added to the intensity or the pressure of the game.
That
So
that
these are
that
all
should not
factors to take into consideration.
that should not apply any pressure to you. You have come to play this game. This game. What happened yesterday is irrelevant. What happening tomorrow is
Well,
irrelevant.
it's called pressure,
You're
Christoph.
you've
It's
come
called
to play
pressure.
this game. All right. Even if I didn't hook Zubamendi immediately, he would not be playing that second half. Right? This is not Zubamendi's first mistake this season that has led directly to a goal. This is the fourth one this season, and you do
Mm.
it in such a high profile game.
Oh, you mean as in he
The,
attempting a back pass and the ball being
right.
picked
This
off?
this is this is the fourth one so far this season
Wow. Oh,
in the
that's an
league.
interesting
In the league.
statistic there.
All right.
Mm. So you're saying he's becoming a defensive liability then?
I wouldn't. It's not. I don't give that mistake 100% down to Zubamendi. I think Arteta must take some blame for that. I think he has
But Arteta
instructed
can't
the
be the one out there kicking the
uh,
ball.
I believe he has instructed the players to play safe and not take these risky passes forward. If you go back to that, there was a pass forward that could have gone to Declan Rice in space, but they do not make those passes. They want to pass the ball to the foot of these players. Instead, nobody is running onto the one player. For me, most majority of the season, or only two players majority of the season who run into space and don't necessarily get those true balls played into them majority of the time is Gyökeres and Martinelli. Nobody else runs into space. A couple weeks ago there was a Champions League game. I don't remember who it was against. Where Arsenal kind of played the B team. Noni Madueke, Martinelli, whatever.
Inter
And
Milan?
no, not Inter Milan. Before that,
Mm.
right?
Okay.
That the team they were playing was playing a very high line, right? Not one single player made any runs behind the defense. You're playing a team weaker than you. They've left a ton of space behind, and nobody has made the runs behind. And that is what is killing them, and that is what has killed them in this game against Man
So you're
United.
saying, are you expecting this fall off from Arsenal then to continue into upcoming games?
I
Can
I
Arsenal keep a hold of the pressure?
I think what Arsenal and Arteta need to do is to stop playing so safe all the time. All right. Arsenal started out the season being very strong defensively. All right. That is gone. You're still the best defense in the league,
Yeah, I
but
mean
you're
conceding
conceding
three
goal.
at
But
home.
but you're conceding goal. Yeah, the first time in almost a year.
Right,
You're
right.
still you still have the best defense in the team. You still have the least conceded, right? But you're conceding goals. It is time now to stop worrying about the clean sheets and go and attack and get goals. It's goals that win games. It's not clean sheets win games. It's goals. Because if you have a clean sheet and the opposition have a clean sheet, is points shared. So you must now go the remainder of the season. Attack must be the focus for the remainder of the season. You must now find a way to score goals.
Being said then, Christoph, that being said, on the back of this result, can Arsenal still win the league?
Yeah, you're still the top of the league. Nobody has any game in
But
hand. You
will they?
still have a
Will they is
cushion.
the question.
I think they should still go on and win the league.
Okay, so your confidence hasn't shifted, so to speak. You're still a believer that Arsenal
I
will
I
win the
I
league at the end of the day.
you are still the strongest squad in the league. You have almost everybody back from injury. Only two people missing
Fully
from the
fit
squad
squad.
at the moment. Only two people missing. Kai Havertz was injured again, and Calafiori is still injured. You have almost a fully fit squad. You have multiple strikers. You have a makeshift striker in Marino. You have two people playing in every position currently. If you cannot find the wins, then you can't you don't deserve to win
So
anything.
are you saying Arteta out if Arsenal doesn't win the
It,
league title?
if if Arteta does not me, but if Arteta per, personal feelings, yeah, if he doesn't win the league or the Champions League, I would dismiss him.
Mm,
He can go on and win the Carling Cup. He can go on and win the FA Cup. If he does not win the league or Champions League, I would dismiss him.
So who are you backing as a potential replacement?
Fabregas.
Fabregas.
Yeah.
Wow, big call there. Big call there indeed. But that being said, what of the Manchester United managerial position, Christoph? I mean, on the back of these two outstanding results from Carrick, will Carrick now become a prime candidate for taking over full time at Manchester United?
Uh, I don't know as yet, but I can tell you if he continues to get results, the fans will demand that he be given the job. And then, like we said, 6 months down the line, the results not going your way, they will call to have him removed. So can Carrick get the job? If he, like I said, if they bring him into Champions League, if he brings them into Champions League position, he will 100% get the job.
Well, I mean, from the jump, Carrick seemed to have found his best team, and that team is pretty much putting up some magnificent performances and getting the result at the end of the day as well. Can United keep this up going forward, Christoph? Or is it a case where United only rise for the big teams, the high-profile games, and then play below par versus the minnows, so to speak?
Well, let's take a look and see you next week.
So you're saying they're playing a minnow next week?
I don't know who they're playing next week. I'd have to look.
Well,
Let's
yeah.
see. Manchester United, Fulham.
Okay, so you're saying Fulham is probably a better test than Arsenal then in terms of gauging the psychology or the mentality of the squad,
Potentially, because as we've said, these are games where Manchester United, regardless of form, will find a performance.
right?
So
Right?
it
Versus a Man City, versus a Arsenal, versus a
versus a
Liverpool,
versus a Liverpool,
versus a
versus a
Chelsea,
Chelsea, they'll
right?
find the performance. But
So
let's
the
see
real
what they
test
do.
is versus a team like a Fulham, a team like a Crystal Palace,
Brentford,
a Brentford, a
Newcastle.
Brighton. Okay, I see, I see. So we should definitely be keeping a close eye on United going forward versus Fulham in their next fixture then.
Yes, definitely.
Mm,
I think that will
inter
be a better indicator of where this United team stands and where Carrick's tactical prowess is.
in time interesting times ahead then, Christoph. Interesting times ahead. But we segue over there to Anfield, Christoph. Are we seeing the final knock-ins from Slot, Christoph? Can this run of bad form and performance continue for Liverpool and Slot retain his job? What says you?
Uh, Potentially. Potentially he could still perform poorly in the league and then still keep the job. It depends because he's still doing well in the Champions League. The English teams are still doing well in the Champions League. It comes back to what I'm saying that EPL teams are doing mid and low blocks, but that's not the case in the Champions League because it's the elite attacking teams of Europe, so everybody wants to attack. There's a lot of space in behind, and you don't have to break down those low blocks. So teams are doing well in the Champions League, and maybe Slot will go on and potentially win the Champions League, and that would keep him his job again.
I don't see that happening with this Liverpool squad, Christoph. Not at all. I mean, another poor defeat to, you could say, a depleted Bournemouth team. But I mean, Bournemouth finding 3 goals, that defensive fragility again, and Liverpool could only respond with 2. This is a recurring theme at this point in time. This is
So
indeed a recurring theme.
so your thought is that they should dismiss Slot?
It's a rock and a hard place. I personally would give him until the end of the season, and then assess him at the end of the season. I would not dismiss him now, but I would definitely make an assessment. If Liverpool fail to finish in the top 5, then definitely Slot out.
I mean, something I've often wondered from watching football when managers go through, our teams go through bad spells. Um, does the board step in and say, "Hey, perhaps you need to start trying something different because potentially your job is now at risk," or is it that they don't say anything and just
It varies.
come
I
the
think I
morning
think
after and fire
yeah,
them?
I don't think a lot of managers are sacked out of the blue, where it's a total surprise or a total shock, to be honest. There would have been rumblings. You board members or higher ups may give you a talk or two. Of course, the fans are constantly talking. And the media, of course, also plays a huge role. So I don't think any manager really gets sacked and they are completely caught off guard or surprised. Usually there's a build-up of pressure, a build-up of calls for your sacking, whether through the media, by the fans, and as you say, through the board, you know.
No,
But
what I mean is, does the board give warning before and say, "Hey, one more bad
yeah, I think so.
result"?
Yes, yes, I do feel so. Yes, yes, for sure. I believe so. I think there's a pre-meeting to outline maybe some short-term objectives to say, all right, if results don't improve in the next 5, then we are going to sack this coach. I do believe that is the case, but I could be wrong. So I definitely stand corrected. But I don't think any manager in this day and age is shocked by their sacking. There would have been precursors to show that you're being dismissed. Rumors, much like we hear of transfer rumors, Christoph. I'm sure these coaches would hear of potential replacement rumors as well. And currently, the rumor is Zabi Alonso in, Slot out. That seemed to be the running rumor at the moment, you know. But for sure, Slot would have had some credit in the bank, having won the league last year. And as you mentioned, he's doing decent enough in the Champions League. But looking on as to how Liverpool is playing, I'm not seeing much improvement. And what could improve the team, Christoph, is if some business is done in the January transfer window. If Liverpool can get in a quality defender, I think they may stem the leaks at the back.
But
If
didn't you say
not,
that
I
chance
think
was
things will
gone?
just continue. Well, I mean, Gay, he was the man who Liverpool was closely linked with last year. I didn't hear of any other linkages. And thus far this window, I haven't heard of any defensive reinforcement coming in for Liverpool either. So if things continue with the same personnel, then I think they won't stem the flow of goals. It will just continue, which doesn't augur well in terms of results going forward. So time is the master. Time will definitely tell, but it's interesting times ahead over there for Liverpool. And of course, Manchester United seem to be on the rise. That game versus Fulham will definitely answer all questions. If they can pick up a third win on the bounce, then they're in good stead. I mean, for a long time, Christoph, we were talking about Amarin not being able to get back-to-back wins. And here comes Michael Carrick. First 2 games, it's back-to-back wins already. So, ah, it, it's almost as if the decision to bring in Carrick is now being justified, even if it's just in the short term. And he may very well lead Manchester United to finish in the Champions League position, which probably was the objective at the start of the season anyway. So, interesting times ahead for sure. But were there any other outstanding results, Christoph, which stood out for you over the course of the EPL action this weekend? We saw Chelsea getting a win, Spurs drawing. Was there any other result which caught your attention?
Sunderland losing,
Sunderland.
shocking result.
What do you think is going on over there at Sunderland? I mean, it was shocking for me as well. The margin of the defeat. I
It
thought even
it
if they lost, it would have been a closer game.
shocking defeat. West Ham in that relegation zone. Yeah, they won the last game, but I mean, it's shocking. Sunderland have been, pretty good for the first half of the season. Is it that we're seeing them now?
Probably for the first time we are seeing the Sunderland we probably expected at the start of the season. Probably for the first time we're
I'm
seeing
I'm
that now.
I'm partially wondering if it's also a case of players being tired. You're getting back a lot of your players from AFCON, but are they tired? Since the start of the year, we have seen very what you would say unexpected results. Not necessarily that they are, shocking upsets. I mean, one or two here or there, but since the start of the year, the results have been questionable from some of these teams. And, the other day we talked about nobody being able to put together a run of back-to-back wins and so on. And it could be down to the fact that maybe the Premier League maybe needs to they're obviously never going to change, the whole Boxing Day and all the packed fixtures in December or whatever.
Yeah, it's a
Uh,
commercialization of the sport. That's
right, the
what gives you
commercial,
the big money.
right. But if you look at the other top leagues, the Barca, not Barca, the La Liga and the Bundesliga
Right.
specifically, they give at least 2 weeks off. I don't think there are a lot of matches in December for
Yeah,
La
but when you
Liga.
look at the finances of those leagues, they are far below that of the English league.
Yeah,
This is why the
yes,
English league is
but
the
when
richest league in the world, Christoph. It's a
yeah,
give or
but
take situation.
But the
The
Spanish
Boxing
and
Day fixtures
Bo
are probably the biggest viewed
Barca.
games
No, no,
throughout the
no.
course of the year.
I'm saying obviously they're not going to change the December fixtures.
And I don't think they should.
I don't think they should.
It's been
But
traditional
you should
and it is what brings in a
potentially
lot of revenue.
you should potentially give the players a break in January because we see that break that let's say Bayern,
Well, I
Barca,
don't
and
think
Real
there
Madrid
is a week break. There is a week break in
uh,
January.
when
Yeah, there is a
ja,
week
ja,
break after the
right,
festive period.
right,
There's a
right now,
week
right now, January is done. When was that break? I don't
in
recall there being a
early
break in the
January. Yeah,
football. I
man.
don't
If you
recall there being a
check your
break in the football.
fixtures, check your fixtures.
But as
But
I was saying
even
though,
even so, squads are bigger now, and you have five subs. Use your subs.
right. But as
Use your subs.
what I'm saying is that we see where Bayern, Madrid, and Barca have all benefited from these breaks,
I don't really buy
especially
into that.
in the Champions League.
I don't really buy into that, to be honest with you.
Why
You
is
have
that?
five subs to use your subs. You have big squads, rotate your squads. It's down to man management. That's all it is. Man management or the lack of it.
Uh,
So use your squad. Use your players. But for me, Christoph, the standout game for me was the Aston Villa Newcastle game.
wasn't
And we
that
see
stand out for me? That's what we expected.
well, I had
The
called
trend,
Newcastle to win, but the
no,
trend continues
the trend
technically.
continues.
The
Once
trend
they play,
indeed
once
continues.
they play in Europe, they lose on the week. They not lose, they drop points on the weekend.
Right. And again, we saw that again, dropping points. Well, in this case, losing to Aston Villa was Newcastle. And I mean, this win definitely gives Aston Villa a big boost. And additionally, I am hearing where Aston Villa is linked to a number of incoming players as well, Christoph. The likes of Douglas Luiz probably returning to his old stamping ground, and also former Chelsea striker Tammy Abrahams, a potential move to Aston Villa is also on the card. So we see Aston Villa reinforcing their ranks, and this these reinforcements, Leon Bailey also returning, Christoph. So those are three fresh new faces and legs into that squad. I think this will definitely boost their options going forward and potentially keep them in that top five. So one of the big name teams will be missing out. And at the moment, it looks as if it's Liverpool, Christoph. Liverpool is currently on the outside looking in. And based on how I observe the other teams around them playing, Liverpool seem to be the weakest link at the moment. Who do you think will be finishing in that top five, Christoph, and qualifying for Champions League at the moment, if you were to pick five teams?
Well, Arsenal, Man City.
For sure, those two are locked then.
Right. Yeah, I think those two are locked in for a top four finish. Um, I want to say Chelsea, but they're hit and miss sometimes. So I'm gonna say Chelsea, and I don't feel like United will make the top four, but momentum could carry them for the remainder of the season, so it's possible. But I think Liverpool will potentially pick themselves up for the remainder of the season.
So
I
you're
saw
saying Man
uh,
City, Arsenal,
Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool.
and the 15,
You could say Aston Villa and fifth.
Aston Villa.
Right. As,
So who misses out
Aston
then?
Villa, like just at the usually down to the tail end of the season.
So you're
They,
saying Man U misses out.
yeah, I don't. No, I said they could potentially make it, but if
Yeah,
I if
but
I was going to pick one to miss out, then yeah, let's go with United.
United misses out. I my money is on Liverpool, to be honest with you. I
You
think
don't
Liverpool misses out. I
you don't
have
think
zero faith
Liverpool
in Liverpool at the moment.
you don't think Liverpool
Zero
makes
faith.
makes the Champions League?
No, I don't think Liverpool makes the
Do they make
Champions
the
League.
Europa League?
Yeah, they'll finish in a European spot. They'll finish in the top eight, but I don't think they finish in the top five. They'll
So
finish in
so
the top eight, but not
uh,
in the top five.
you said you would give Slot until the end of the season. So
Slot until
give
if he's out of
give
Champions League,
no.
slot out.
Given what you just said, though, like, do you
Yes.
think the board will sack him before the end of the season?
No, I don't think they will. He has too much credit in the bank,
Okay.
as well as the investments he would have made over the summer. So those two things are in his favor. Additionally, to be honest with you, Christoph, additionally, I believe if Xabi Alonso was still at the helm at Real Madrid, we would not be hearing this chatter re-slot out. Because to me, the natural replacement for a slot would have been a Xabi Alonso. So the only reason in particular we are hearing a lot of noise slot being sacked is because Xabi Alonso is now available and could potentially take over the Liverpool job. So that is the only reason. If Xabi Alonso was still the manager at Real Madrid, I don't think we would be hearing this much chatter around Slot. So I think he has credit in the bank, having won the title before, having spent a lot of money, as well as the injuries have not been kind to him this year either, to be honest with you. So if he can turn things around, if he can get the team playing better football, finishing in the top four, then fine, he can stay. But if we see no improvement, if we see a continued downward trajectory, finishing outside the top four, or the top five, I should say, or finishing outside Champions League, then I would definitely give my vote for Slot out and Zabi Alonso in. If it's not Zabi Alonso, I don't. It doesn't make sense to me at this point. If Zabi Alonso isn't the manager coming in as the replacement, it's I don't see anyone else out there who could fit the bill at the moment. So it's either Slot out, Zabi Alonso in, or Slot stays and rebuild come next year. Liverpool oftentimes don't really replace managers on a whim or through a run of bad results. They usually stick by the manager and build for the future. So
What
I
about
don't.
a Hansi Flick?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's either Alonso. My money is Alonso or Slot, Christoph. One or the other, but no one else.
Okay.
But time is the master. Time will tell. Things can change very quickly and fast. But yeah, that was a I mean, as you said, that was a match which caught my attention in that the continued historical data keeps proving itself right. Newcastle plays Champions League football midweek and then pretty much drop points on the weekend, and that is the continued trend. But what to say, what to do? Interesting times ahead for sure. That trend needs to be broken, though. I'm not sure what uh the manager over there at Newcastle can do to stem this trend. You know, I'm not sure.
Perhaps he needs to improve the squad depth.
Perhaps,
We have a
perhaps
couple more days, improving the squad depth is not out of the
the question.
realm of possibilities.
True, true, true. Yeah,
I
that
feel like
that's
I
that.
feel like I feel like that would stem the poor results after Champions League games for Newcastle.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, that would definitely help as we see Aston Villa boosting their squad. Other teams in and around Aston Villa may need to do likewise as well. And Aston Villa boosting their squad and their other counterpart remaining standstill may be the advantage Aston Villa need to remain in that top five. But they're pushing hard. They are definitely pushing hard. I mean, they are on same number of points as Man City. So to me, I would still consider them title challengers. They may be the unfancied teams, but the points total does not lie. The numbers support their claim, Christoph. So while we may look in past them, they have the numbers on their side. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility that they may yet come good. But any final thoughts, Christoph, as we wind things down? Any final thoughts as it relates to this week action?
Um, Interesting weekend of football, but obviously the poor refereeing decisions that are now being and major refereeing decisions that are now happening, needs to be rectified going forward for the remainder of the season.
Interesting stuff for sure. I mean, VAR is now playing a prominent role as it relates to refereeing decisions on the field. Every goal is checked now, for offside, for foul, whether the ball it's a handball before. So every goal that is scored is definitely checked, and we see a lot of goals being called back for a variety of
Uh,
reasons.
as I've said, you have the VAR and you still make the wrong decision. What was the purpose of the VAR? Because that
Ah,
is what is happening. They have the VAR, they check it, and then they still make the wrong decision. And then the following day, they come on TV and try and justify the decision and tell you why it was not a foul, why it was not a card. Even though everybody else can see that it was a card, it was a red card, it was a penalty or whatever. But you come and justify it every week, and then there's no punishment for the foolishness that you come on TV and say.
yeah, definitely. It's an area that the EPL need to look at cleaning up, getting better at, and definitely improving as the repercussions are severe for teams, not only in terms of where they finish in the league, but the monetary value that accompanies each league position as well. That is why every team is clamoring, every player is clamoring to play their football in the
Only,
English
yeah,
Premier League.
only the teams are being punished for these things. If a team comes out or a manager comes out and speaks out against the FA or against the referees, they get a ban. In a game, if a player accumulates 5 yellow cards or they get a red cards, then you pick up a suspension. Why are these referees not picking up suspensions for poor refereeing decisions?
Well, this is a conversation for another time, Christoph. We are quickly out of time. Viewers and subscribers, thank you again for tuning in to us here on Beating the Press podcast. Christoph, thanks again for coming through, sharing your thoughts and your opinions. But viewers, subscribers, hit that subscription bell. But until next time, this is Rafa signing off.